Hello and welcome to the WGG how-to video, Design Your Path. In this activity, learners will design a wall maze using engineering design principles and the science of energy. In this activity, learners take on the STEM career role of a civil engineer. Civil engineers design, build, and maintain construction projects and systems such as roads, buildings, airports, and tunnels. More information is provided in the facilitator guide about this career. The STEM big idea in this activity is redesign. As with every WGG project, learners have the opportunity to engage in the engineering design cycle. As you can see from this image, they think about specifications and constraints, they develop knowledge, they come up with solutions, they build a prototype, and they test and evaluate their design. In this activity, learners will have plenty of opportunities to test and refine their design as they're creating their wall maze. This is encouraged and an exciting part of this activity. For this activity, learners will need a science fair display board. This can be any smooth vertical surface and it can be of any color. They'll need one roll of clear tape. They'll also need double-sided tape, a couple of marbles, 4 sheets of the channel templates that we will provide, scissors, cardstock, and of course, a timer. Before the kids walk in, you want to make sure that you have familiarized yourself with the design challenge. You have all your materials that you need ready to go. You've read the facilitator guide as it contains many important details for this activity, and you've set the activity up so that when the learners come in, they can begin to have fun. To get kids excited about this activity, ask them questions as a group. Ask them to think about a time when they were on a windy road, whether they were in a car, on their bicycle, or on a skateboard. Ask them how it felt. Was it scary, safe, fast? Why do they think the path was windy instead of straight? And does a windy path affect how far or fast an object goes? By posing these questions, you give learners the opportunity to think about their everyday experiences and apply them to the exciting activity ahead. Now, let's check out some highlights for this activity. When you log into the WGG environment and begin the Design Your Path activity, you will see an overview of the steps that learners will engage in. As always, the first step introduces the design challenge and previews what's to come. Learners are given design criteria to evaluate their wall maze design. As learners design and redesign their wall maze, they'll pay attention to the direction that the marble travels, so from high to low. They'll also pay attention to the types of pathways that the marble travels. Is it a curved pathway, an uphill pathway? Learners will also pay attention to how far the marble travels, as well as how long it travels for. And remember, in this activity, we're looking for the design of the wall maze that travels or transports the marble the slowest. In this activity, learners play with the scientific concepts of potential and kinetic energy. During the develop knowledge phase of this activity, learners will have the opportunity to view this infographic to help them learn the difference between potential and kinetic energy. In this activity, we're focusing on the energy of the marble. When the marble is traveling uphill, potential energy increases and kinetic energy decreases. When the marble is at its highest point on top of the hill, the marble has the most potential energy. And when the marble is traveling downhill, the potential energy decreases and the kinetic energy increases. And on the ground, the marble has the least amount of potential energy. Before you begin the activity, use this infographic to help you build your understanding of potential and kinetic energy. Now let's review some tips related to the construction of the wall maze. Using the provided channel templates and the cardstock, you will create channels or pathways for the marble. This is an example of a simple pathway. It's cardstock with the edges folded up to keep the marble in. To create a curved pathway, you will cut a notch into the channel template. This allows you to bend or curve the channel template. Use the scraps and place at the end of the channels to create end caps or stoppers. You can also use the scraps for speed bumps or other features of the wall maze. Now, learners can use any number and combination of these channel types to create their wall maze. Using tape, they'll place or position each channel on the science board. As they begin to combine channels, they start to create a maze or a series of paths. As learners play with the different ways to combine the different types and the number of channels, they can test and redesign as they go. Here's an example of a simple wall maze in action.
Go.
After learners are satisfied with their final redesign, they can evaluate their wall maze. Again, learners are paying attention to the direction that the marble travels from high to low. They're paying attention to the different types of pathways the marble travels, the distance the marble travels, and of course, the length of time. As always, this WGG activity provides learners the opportunity to reflect on the evaluation of their design and to generate additional ideas for how their wall maze can be even better. Finally, we have a few facilitator tips where the gotchas can get you. In this activity, we want to encourage thoughtful redesign. Remember, while this activity engages learners throughout the entire engineering design process, this project emphasizes the refined design phase. Have kids test as they go along. They can use their phone for a timer. Before or during the activity, encourage students to sketch out a design or a redesign so that they can visualize and discuss what might happen with the marble when it travels. Also, use the channel template to make sure that all the channels are the same width. This allows the marble to travel more easily. Also, there are many weights of paper, so be sure that the cardstock or other paper that you select can support the weight of the marble. Most importantly, encourage creativity, emphasize redesign, and have a great time.